Hi, Polydarway here. Today we're gonna finish off this mini series of the wood barrel. So let's see what we're gonna learn today. We're gonna promote some parameters to the HJ so we can make some variations of the barrel. Then we're gonna take the HJ and bring inside a unit project. So let's begin. Before we start, I would like to point some changes to our model. It's really simple. I just added some polybevels. So I added a polybevel to the rings and I added a polybevel to the barrel itself too. And here, with our complete model, I added two labs pixel density node too. So let's promote some parameters. Mainly, we are going to promote some parameters of the nodes that we colored in orange. For example, this line nodes controls the height of the barrel and the divisions of this height. So these two parameters will be promoted to the HDA. So let's rename it height. Let's open our type properties interface. So right click, type properties. Let's go to the parameters tab. Let's make some room. So this property controls the height of the barrel. If we go in the last node, this property is controlling the height. So it's important. So let's grab it and put here in the type property window. Let's create a folder. Let's call it general. Let's rename it H. Let's filter it and give a minimum value of 0.1 and a max value of maybe 2. The second property of this line node controls the resolution of the height. So it's important too. Let's grab it and rename it height res resolution. Let's give a minimum value 2 of maybe 2 and maximum of, I don't know, 20. Apply. Now these two properties are linked. This grid node is important too because it gives the profile of the plank of the wood barrel. So let's grab a separator. So let's create a float. So let's see here, we are going back to the sweep node. So this property controls the width and this property controls the depth. So let's create them. Let's give it a range to 0.1 and max value of 1. Let's put inside the folder. Let's copy it and rename it to dev. Let's apply. And to link, we are going to open the HJ interface. So parameters and channels, parameters. Right click, copy parameter. Right click here, paste relative reference, and repeat the same process to the dev property. So let's give some default values to the dev. Let's give it 0.075, and for the width 0.1. 15. Okay. Next, we created a parameter in this line node that we call it number of planks, that basically controls how many planks the barrel will have. So this parameter is important too. So let's grab it, apply. Nice. Let's go below. Here we have the barrel shape. I think the only property we need to promote the value of this middle point. So let's grab it. Let's call it shape density. Density. Let's give it a minimum value of 0 and I don't know, 3, the maximum. This node controls the number of rings. So let's create another folder. Rings. Let's grab this property. Call it number of rings. No. What else controls some aspect of the rings? I think this grid that controls the profile. Yes. Let's create two floats. The first property of the grid node controls F. So F ring def. Here I'm going to create a slider that goes from 0 to 1 to be more user friendly. Let's create the default value from 0.5. The second one controls the height. So each ring height. Let's create a range that goes from 0 to 1, 2, and minimum value, default value 0.5. Let's take our interface again. Here I'm going to copy the parameter, and here instead of replacing this default value, I'm going to put a bigger value, and I'm going to multiply with this parameter. So I have by default the same value that I put it here before, and I can control this range. Let's do the same for the height. And we have a slider that controls the height too. And here I can put a bigger value than 1 because I didn't lock the maximum value. Nice. Let's create a property for the bevel to promote this distance value. Let's call it bevel amount. Ring bevel amount. Let's make with the same logic of the height and depth of the ring. So it will be a slider that goes from 0 to 1. The maximum value is open. The default value is 0.5. Let's take the previous value and multiply with the property. I think we cover everything from the rings. Let's go to the bolt. Let's create another folder. Let's call it bolts. So here we need to change the style of the bolt insertion. So let's take this parameter and convert it to a toggle because it's changing between two values. Let's call it bolt insertion style. So the first style is I stepped 1. So let's grab this property, promoted. Let's call it step interval. Let's start with 1 and let's take 10 for now, but we are going to leave it open too. This property will only show up when the switch node is with the first option selected. So let's grab this name, and here in the step interval, we are going to type an expression here in the height when property. Here it's 0. And the second one, we have two properties here. So the first one is speed. Let's leave it in the bolts. Let's make an interval from 0 to 1000. Change the name to bolt speed. And the threshold, we are going to lock it between 0 and 1. And these two properties will only show up when we choose the second option of the switch node. Let's copy the expression we did in the step interval property and change the value from 0 to 1. Let's take this expression and copy it to the threshold tool. We can control the radius of the bolt. So let's grab the radius property. Let's create a separator here. And let's grab the height too. And here I'm going to make the same logic that I did in the depth and height of the rings. I'm going to create a slider that will multiply with these two properties here. The interval will be 0 to 1, 0.5. Let's call it just radius. And here, both radius. Both height from 0 to 1, 2. 0.5. Apply. And let's multiply with the original values. Multiply. Nice. Let's create a property for the bevel too. Bevel amount. Bolt bevel amount 0 to 1. 0.5. Apply and multiply with the original value. Nice. I think that is everything for the bolt. Let's go to the covers. So here we are controlling the number of planks. Grab a folder. Covers. Let's grab this property. Let's make a minimum value of 2. And a maximum, let's leave it for 10, but open. We can control the extrude and the bevel. Before, let's save our HJ. We make a lot of changes. I'll make a slider for these two properties too. Amount. Let's multiply with the original value. The bevel, let's do the same. I'm going to copy this property and just change the name, bevel amount. Bevel. Apply. Let's take our interface again. Right click on the bevel amount property, copy parameter. Apply by our property. Nice. Here we have a switch tool to hide or not the top cover. So let's create this property too. Top cover. Logo. Okay. And I think of the modeling of the barrel itself, we covered everything. Now let's change here our composite model. Because we are going to test it inside the unit, we are going to create some materials there. So unit material node. Let's call it wood. Let's create another folder. Let's call it materials and UVs. Let's grab this string property and promote it. Barrel material, because we are going to apply it to the barrel. Here in the tags, we can edit little tags so we can link our unit material easier. Here we are going to type HEU for Houdini Engine Unit, asset F. Let's apply it. We are going to link before the merge. Let's see what we're going to use the same material of the wood barrel. Think the covers. So let's copy this node and update our links. And let's create another unit material. Let's put it here. Let's call it metal. And do the same thing of the previous property. Let's promote it. Let's call it rings and bolts material. Let's copy the tag that we added for the barrel material to the second material. Let's add a tag, double click, and copy the expression. Apply. Let's update the connection. And here we are going to copy this node and update the connection here too. To finalize, we are going to promote some properties from the textile density node. So let's grab a separator. And here the asset resolution represents the resolution of the texture you are going to apply for the model. So let's name it map size or texture size. And the second one will be the textile density itself. So let's rename it to textile density. Let's apply, accept. Let's make a quick test to see if everything is working fine. Let's go back to general. We can control the height. I think we have a little bug here. When we change the height, the cover, the top cover is not updating. Let's see what's happening. The curve, we need to change a little bit the second U. Let's grab it to 0.999. Yes, I think we corrected the mistake. Yes, nice. Let's see. We have a little bug too when we change the depth of the plank. Somehow the cover top is not updating. So we need to change the position of this top point to be outside the barrel. So when we apply the ray, it will be snapped to the outside, so we can grab the correct distance. So I'm going to create a transform node. Let's put between the carve and the ray. We are going to transform only the top point. That's the point number 1. We need to move it outside the barrel. So let's grab the reference of the barrel. Let's create a spare input. Grab our base barrel. And here in the translate, let's type the expression bbox -1 to reference the spare input. The min. Yes. Let's see in the copy point. Nice. Let's see if it works with other depth. Nice. What else? Let's see. Let's see in the end how is it working. It is a bit offset. Let's see what's happening. Here it is okay. I think it is transform. Yes. Let's make a bit small instead of large. Nice. Let's see the other property. Number of rings. Okay. Depth. Nice. Height of the rings. Nice. And the bevel amount. Let's see the bolt. Okay, it's working. Let's change the style insertion. Nice. Radius. Okay. Height and the bevel. Great. Let's go back to the covers. Now to control how many planks the covers will have. Nice. Choose the amount and the bevel. Great. Pixel density and map size, it's working too. Nice. And let's see in the properties here in the geometry spreadsheet if the material is applying. Okay, it's here. Nice. I think we are ready to test it inside Unity. So let's save our node. Right click, save node type. Let's go inside Unity. So here inside Unity, I have installed the Houdini engine, and I have my wood barrel HJ here in the project too. So let's drag to the scene. So it's here. We have our HJ interface here. Let's see if everything is changing. Yes. And let's hook up some materials. So because of that little tag that we created for the material properties, now we can drag and drop our materials, and our HJ will update. So everything is working. We can change our texel density here too. Real nice. So that's it, guys. We have completed this mini series. If you like this kind of content, let me know in the comment below. Thank you very much and have a nice day. And I'll see you next time.